It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
And it's that time for your weekly cup of coffee right here from Slumberland at the lake. I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.
And it looks like you made it through the Ice-mageddon or Snow-mageddon this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't too bad. I kind of like it because you're stuck inside and the fireplace is on and you look out at all the ice and snow. It doesn't get bad until you have to get out in it.
And as long as you've got power.
Right. Oh, yeah,
right?
That's important.
So we're going to look back at the best sights and sounds from this year's ice and snowstorm. Also, some heroes among us. One in particular, Josh Butterfield. A lot of you guys know his name. Talk about some of the extra effort he gave back over the ice storm. Plus, local headlines. Hey, Presiding Commissioner Ike Skelton under investigation.
I saw that. That's interesting.
We'll talk about that. Plus, President Jimmy Carter laid to rest on Tuesday. Not real important for those of you here around the lake area, except for a Versailles grad was selected to be a pallbearer. We'll tell you about that, plus great fundraising efforts here around the lake, and much more after this from Slumberland at the lake.
Hey everybody, it's Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. It's a new year, 2025. Happy New Year. What's that mean? We've got new sales. Sales in every room of the house. Got great financing, 24 months interest free. If you're going to get a premium bed, we're doing 60 months interest free. Don't forget, even with the weather, we're delivering the entire lake area. Come see the New Year sale, Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
Ooh, brr! These last couple days, Unky C, have been bitter.
I saw some videos of you and the family out doing some tobogganing and sledding and stuff. Looked like you guys were having a good time until somebody got hurt.
Yeah, and you probably knew when you saw some of those pictures coming in that was coming.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a great time, did some sledding, and I thought I had it all set up. Dug out a path for us, right? But the problem is we live, as you can see from that video, right? Completely downhill. And there's trees, you always worry about trees when you're sledding, but we have rock barriers, for flower beds. I thought we're safe, pretty buried. On our last trip down, Brindley and I sitting on the sled, went down. My leg took a direct impact right into a couple of boulders. You should have seen the hematoma that was growing. But no doctor needed. I toughed it out, and after putting a compression sock, starting to look a little better. So I think we're going to be okay.
Is it black and blue? Is it still big?
You can see some video clips, some photos here on screen. Probably the prettiest that leg of mine's ever looked.
Okay.
But hey, so that was a sight for a lot of people that might be friends with me on Facebook or in our group message, got to see that, probably had a good chuckle. But there were some wild things. One of the things I saw, there's a house fire Monday in Lynn Creek off the main channel, the mile marker 31. You see that epic picture?
I did not see that. I went and looked for something because some family member in Omaha said, hey, there's a fire there, and I was looking for it. I never saw it.
Yeah, it was just crazy. You can see photos here. Really, really cool. Now, I did forget to write the name down. Appreciate it. Just an iconic photo. Eric Wade from Platte County sent some photos and videos. Here, as you see the snow start to roll in, and check out some of the incredible drone. Andrew threw the drone up. You can see some aerial here. Also, Skyview Photography, Daniel Carnahan. Great time lapse there on the square. See what it looked like before the ice and then right after. And of course, iconic photo there from LOZ. Drone of this year's first snow, first ice. Do you see anything in particular through the photos, the posts that stood out to you?
You know what? It just the fact that it was everybody just stayed off the roads. It was so quiet, so dead because of the ice first. I think that freaked everybody out. And then the snow came second, around here anyway. But I was surprised at just how everybody just stayed in. It was so quiet for the first few days.
Didn't mind that either. If you look at a couple other, here's a really cool one from Byron Willis, who's in Max Creek. He took his horse-drawn carriage around the farmland. So always able to get up, running smooth today.
I wonder if he took his wife with him. That'd be a little romantic there.
Well, I don't know. That weather, it's hard to think romance when it's that cold. But hey, a lot of people do. Preston Kincaid here with this frozen fence artwork I thought was really cool. there you get a good look at our friend Dahlia Kitchen, the dog. She's having a good time there in Richland.
Is that a dog or a horse?
That's a dog. She's a big girl, isn't she?
Yeah.
And she's just a puppy still, you know, just about a year old, a little over. So Shannon McKee Morse, just a beautiful picture here of the lake. And you mentioned Brinley, the sledding. You see some of the videos here. And even though, yeah, there was a little bit of an injury, totally worked it. Look how happy she is. She loved playing in the snow.
The way you built that, it was like a bobsled luge trail down there. You guys could have set some speed records with that thing.
We would have. It would have been fine had Andrew been involved in the engineering process. You could have seen something going south real quick without his involvement. So you see Mike Clayton, our good buddy, his back deck there in Eldon. Courtney Medlin with her dog. Amy Forsyth at the 8.5 mile marker. Check out the deer peeking through the fence. Pretty cool. He's like, I'm hungry, man.
That's beautiful.
Love that. And a few others. Jimmy Roma, there's drone. You see the smoke there coming off the water. Pretty special. On my way to work, I say to work, but to the show Tuesday morning. That is as it was starting to improve a little bit, but still a lot of bad side roads. You see 242, pretty covered. You notice as you get into Osage Beach and Lake Ozark, some side roads. Also, probably my favorite thing, if you get off 54, once you go through 242 and you're getting off onto 54 going to Camdenton, there's that big cliff right there of rocks, right? Where Menards and the movie theater are. I love the icicles. I happened to get those Tuesday morning, a video of those. Unbelievable. Just love that. It's a sight to behold.
Every time I drive by there, it is beautiful. It's something cool. But it shocks me how much water comes through the rock. You know, to make those icicles, or, you know, if it's not cold enough, just to see the water running out of the rock.
And do you guys know, because I'm sure there's a reason, but is it water, I'm sure, coming out of the rock, or is it a spill off or run over from above the rock? Is it a combination of both? If you know, let us know, because Chris and I will take a lot of stabs at it, but not real often we're spot on those things.
Yeah, very rarely are we, you know, actually know what we're talking about.
Another icicle shot here from Eric Anderson, but just incredible. And if you've noticed, you know, you're from Wyoming and Nebraska, you've been around a little bit than Texas, but did you notice that we get a little bit of ice or snow? People really just shut down. Like, it's all done.
It's pretty normal though, anywhere you are. I mean, even I've lived in, like you said, Wyoming, I've lived in Chicago, a lot of cold weather places. There's nothing you can do with ice. You know, you just got to stay off ice if you can. Snow is another thing, you know, it's pretty easy, but unless you're in a, you know, down south, they don't know what to do with snow down there. But I saw a post I loved. It's like, you know, if it starts snowing, stay home. If you haven't learned how to drive in the sunshine yet, don't try to drive on the snow, right? And how true is that, you know?
That's funny. If you haven't learned how to drive in the sunshine, don't try the snowshine.
That's right, yeah.
That's great. I love it. Hey, and as we looked at the ice, you know, a lot of unexpected needs come up of people locally, whether firewood, their power goes out, they need to get to a doctor's appointment. And we want to celebrate a local hero among us. One in particular, Josh Butterfield, who Saturday, early Sunday, had posted to Facebook, and I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, he said, if anybody out there needs help and is stranded or in need of necessities, I will gladly help out for free. Please don't hesitate to call me anytime. And he put his phone number on here. He says, I'm extremely good driver with a good working 4x4, and it's free of charge. How amazing is that?
Yeah, and it's one thing just to put that out there and to help one or two people, right? That's still pretty incredible. Josh spent the next 36 hours after this post doing just that. Reports came in, I posted a Lake Area Happenings and say, hey, all of you that have been impacted by the selflessness of Josh Butterfield, please drop in the comments below. Over 450 comments.
Wow.
As of Tuesday morning, the time we recorded, everything from giving free rides, taking me to my doctor's appointment, bringing firewood. We needed food. He needed beef. We needed taken over to our mom's house because our power went out. He came over and helped get our HVAC system back up. Took me to work. 15 years ago, moved me and my daughter into one of his rentals and didn't charge us initially so we could get off. So it's not just a brand new thing. This is who Josh Butterfield is. And if you look at the hurricanes that we had, the victims in North Carolina, there were a lot of rescue efforts. Josh has a YouTube page called Butterfield Unleashed. I highly encourage you to go to subscribe to that channel, support Josh, check out some of that content because he's been out there selflessly serving those in need and well. one of the things that I thought was most touching of all of these wasn't a bad weather situation maybe, or our good friend Deb Ellers. She had bronchitis, and Josh Butterfield unexpectedly came, took her, got her to her appointment because she had no one else. And you see the amount of people that said this guy is an angel. We're so lucky to have him, and we want to do something for Josh. We're not sure exactly what that is. We think Casey's gift cards to help him with some fuel, food as he's out bringing people food, taking them to and from. We want to get behind that, and we want you and our community to help support that as well. So if you've got any ideas, we're currently talking with Central Bank about getting an account set up there, or Casey's as far as a gift card fund. But if you've got any ideas, we'd love to hear those. We'd love to see how we can help get behind this guy. I mean, how unbelievable. It's one thing, right, if you need to give somebody money or let someone borrow something of yours. Doesn't take a lot of time and effort, especially if financially you're in a position to. But when it comes to giving your time and your equipment and your man hours, especially in this kind of weather, that's a special human being. And I want to tell you, Josh, you're an amazing man. Keep doing what you're doing. And I think it's worth noting that, like all of us, Josh has not always been a perfect human, but he's always stayed true to improvement. And I remember probably 5 or 6 years ago when the county, under terrible leadership, weaponized the county and tried to affect Josh Butterfield's livelihood with his kids and his day-to-day life. And it would have been easy at that time for Josh to pack up and get out of this county. They're attacking him. They're unfairly. He didn't. He stood, fought the good fight. All those charges were dropped. It was a witch hunt from the start. And instead of sobbing and woe is me and look at what this county's done to me, he's a hero among us in this very county, making a difference to the people that need it most. And man, just unbelievable. I want to be more like Josh Butterfield.
You know, that's just another example of why our community is so special, because he's not a one-off. You know, I mean, as cool, great, amazing as this is, we've got a lot of people that do wonderful things like this, and that's what makes our community so wonderful.
Sure, and you mentioned another one, a good friend of Lake TV's, Ozarks Cat and Canine, nonprofit. You know, they're an animal shelter. They've also got the thrift store. Well, they wanted to open on Monday. Well, they were having some problems. Their parking lot was full, and as a nonprofit, a lot of those things don't get fit into your annual budget, right? Can't plan for unexpected expenses. And so they put a post out, hey, would anybody be willing to help at the Ozarks Cat and Canine? We need someone to come shovel our drive, get us up and operational. We really need to be open today. It was a matter of minutes. Darren Kime comments, I'll be right there. And Johnny on the spot, Darren Kime showed up and took care of business.
Yeah, he said, I can do it. Have whomever is in charge message me. And wham, bam, there you go. Just another example of the amazing people in this community.
I was out Saturday as we were getting ready. I went to Porter's in Lori, and it's become like my favorite hardware store.
Really?
That place, it's fun to shop there as it is to go for something you need. Highly recommend Porter's in Lori. Unbelievable. But I see Darren there on the phone, and guess who he's on the phone with? Matt Sutcliffe.
Yeah.
Matt Sutcliffe is out helping others lay ice and get other people out. Darren, this wasn't the Ozarks Cat and Canine Day yet, but he was out at the hardware store getting stuff to help his neighbor.
Amazing.
And then I see this post later of Darren Kime, and I got to tell you, I mean, there are heroes among us. And with that, listen, if someone does something for you or for your business or for your family or goes above and beyond regularly and doesn't get recognized, doesn't get noticed, hey, we want to hear about it. We used to do the Hometown Heroes. And not that we're going to bring that back every week, but we would love to highlight individuals out there who are making efforts like this, and those that don't get a lot of recognition or credit. Josh Butterfield doesn't even have a Venmo. He's not even letting people help him or give him anything. He doesn't want it. So we love to highlight those type of individuals. That's what that Hometown Heroes was all about. And so unofficially, this week's Hometown Hero, Josh Butterfield, an honorable mention to our good buddy Darren Kime. And with this weather, it's worth noting that, hey, not everybody has warmth. If your power doesn't go out, you're going to be okay. Well, how about those individuals who may not have a regular place of residency? Luckily, our friends at the church at Osage Hills now have an overnight warming shelter. You got to check in between 7 and 9 p.m. They've got everything from breakfast provided, dinner that night that you get there, breakfast the next morning. No animals are allowed, unfortunately. Service dogs will be allowed. And they were open the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th to allow people some respite, some care to get out of the cold. But that's a reminder. Listen, you don't have to stay in the cold. You don't have to go somewhere that you're uncomfortable. If that is the case, we have a local warming shelter at the church at Osage Hills. For more information for upcoming weather situations, 573-216-5713. Of course, I'll brag on them. That's my home church. Can't love them anymore, you know?
Yep.
All right, so that is the reminder about that. Now, as we look at local headlines, over the ice, I'd imagine a lot of people at home had more time to look on Facebook, right? Had more time
you bet.
to check things out, and not so much local headlines. But did you notice January 6th came and the president was honored, as was verified.
Certified,
The election was, officially certified. So what did you think of that?
I thought it was good. I was so glad there weren't crazy weird fireworks and all that stuff going on. Went smoothly and that was all good. I'm just kind of shocked at all the weird things Joe Biden is doing in the final few weeks in office. Like, I guess he released 11 terrorists from Gitmo to go back, and set them free, and giving the Presidential Freedom Award to people like George Soros is kind of nuts. So I don't know what is going on with that.
Well, they're not hiding anymore.
Yeah.
There's no, what you can all, in my opinion, what I'm seeing now is just the blatant ignorance of most of America that says stuff like, with the verification of the election, well, thank goodness we didn't have what we had January 6th 4 years ago. Well, we've already figured out by facts in a court what happened on January 6th. It was an inside job to make it look like there was an insurrection at the Capitol.
Yeah.
Now that's been proven and is pretty well understood. People are still saying, well, we're just glad that our party didn't have a crazy, disgusting situation like we had 4 years. It's like people are still hanging on to that didn't actually happen, that was painted as happening. How ignorant can we get?
I'm going to be so fascinated to see what comes out, from that false January 6th committee and the dog and pony show they put on to try to make Trump look bad and stuff. But they apparently, destroyed a whole bunch of documents and different things like that. That's illegal. It'll be interesting to see what comes about from all of that, if anything.
And they're still going to make President Trump have a verdict hearing in this week in the hush money case, which is so interesting.
Yeah.
Just 2 weeks away
crazy.
from taking office, that judge would continue to press this.
Yeah, it really is. It's so sad how our legal system in America has been weaponized. Hopefully, we can get that back to where it's not weaponized against either side, but that it is, up and up and real for everybody. But unfortunately, that's not the way it is right now.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that I didn't realize till I had a busy day yesterday, about 10 o'clock, that, oh my goodness, it was January 6th.
Yeah.
That means the presidential election was supposed to be certified today in Congress or in the House. And guess what? It was, but there was not a lot of headlines about it.
Yep.
It wasn't like overwhelming. And I guess my dates got mixed up and I was like, wait, today's Inauguration Day. And no, it was just the certification of the election.
Still have to wait for that.
I was freaking out as to what happened there. I don't see anything about it. Come to find out, I did find out that it was certified. And as the VP, Kamala Harris had to read that. And when she read the electoral votes for Donald Trump, the crowd went crazy. And then after she read how many she got, the crowd kind of cheered. And then I don't know if you watched it to the very end, but Vance got a standing ovation.
I didn't see that, no.
Because they announced them separately. And then when they announced Tim Walz, there was like 5 or 6, not many people clapped. They got up and even the liberals, the Democrats were like, all right, let's get this over with. But I found it interesting, and I think you're right. I think here over these next couple of weeks leading into the inauguration that we should have our head on a swivel. Be ready for about anything.
Yeah.
Because with some of those actions from our current President Biden, does leave one to wonder what might be going on, right?
Yeah, it makes you wonder. It really does. Kind of crazy stuff going on. And a lot of people wondering, these pardons, like he pardons his son for 11 years for anything that, he did illegally in those 11 years. Is that going to stand? Can you do that? And number two, what is his mental competence? Will they be able to prove that he was not in his own mind and his staff was doing all these things? It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out.
What I love is, what's the press secretary for President Biden? Jean something?
Oh, Jean-Pierre or something like that. Yeah.
But how many times did they, especially Peter Doocy, ask her or ask somebody close with President Biden, would they consider pardoning Hunter? It was over with. No,
never. No, I'm
absolutely
not ever
not.
gonna do that.
Then
Yeah.
it came time to pardon. What was the first thing they did? It's just like, well, you don't like hypocritical, everyone claims. It's wild to me. But hey, more in a local headline. You talk about people may not like President Biden down here at the lake. I think they love President Trump down here at the lake.
Mostly,
Pretty pro-conservative. Well, another person who's incredibly popular here in the lake as far as freedom fighting is our presiding commissioner.
Yeah.
Ike Skelton. Really has been the face of the Patriot Act, I'm going to call it. The Patriot Act in the last 5 years of the Camden County, Tri-County area, getting tired of bureaucrats, getting tired of an agenda being pushed, and said, guess what? I'm getting involved. And presiding Commissioner Skelton has done just that. Well, he finds himself the subject of an ongoing investigation in regards to plate readers.
Yeah, fascinating story the last few days. So a special investigation is being conducted by the Missouri State Highway Patrol Division of Drug and Crime Control after a trooper driving on Highway 54 west of Camdenton at Ballpark Road spotted Camden County Presiding Commissioner Ike Skelton removing a state-owned license plate reader. Those are called LPRs, license plate reader, from a light pole. Took a video of Skelton as he removed it. According to Chief Deputy Scott Hines with the Camden County Sheriff's Office, the trooper contacted both Camden County Sheriff's Office and the Highway Patrol to report the incident. Mike O'Connell, Communications Director with the Missouri Department of Public Safety, said that the Camden County Sheriff's Office contacted DPS about the LPR along Highway 54 in Camden County, has requested that the Missouri State Highway Patrol Division of Drug and Crime Control handle the investigation. It is an ongoing investigation as we speak. The LPRs, of course, Ike has been very outspoken about not liking these because he thinks they do more than just read your license plate. They're a way of spying on you. That's kind of been his whole stance on this. So apparently Ike was up there taking it down in his county because I think the county commission has outlawed those in Camden County, haven't they?
On December 12, 2023, the Camden County Commission adopted an ordinance prohibiting outlawing the plate readers, but the camera on 54 just west of Camdenton was owned by the state. So that's the one in question that he went and got.
Right.
The ordinance stated that cameras would be prohibited if applicable in applicable restricted areas, which is defined as all roadways, parking lots, and other public areas within Camden County. Now, however, the ordinance included an exception stating that subsection 4 does not apply to state highways, rights of way, or other roadways owned and controlled by the state of Missouri. The ordinance also allowed municipalities to use the LPRs inside city limits. This is all out of Nancy Zollner from the Lake Suns article, but at that point in time, the commission said, we need to amend that. So on January 25th of this year, of 2024, they amended it to read the use of any and all automated license plate readers shall be prohibited in all applicable restricted areas of Camden County. Any automated license plate readers currently in violation of this ordinance shall be immediately removed. If identification of ownership is listed on any such device, the listed owner shall be notified to remove said device, and any device not removed within 30 days of notification to remove that device will be removed by order of the Camden County Commission. And so that was what they changed it to.
Okay, so he really kind of had the right to go do that then.
From my understanding, absolutely. At this point, when the state of Missouri did not come down and punish or tell our commission they weren't able to adopt those, listen, your county is just like the state as far as the United States. It's its own republic, essentially. You have your elected officials, you have your commission, you have your prosecutor, you have your sheriff. They act in accordance to the Missouri Constitution, but also ordinance and codes within that city. They're different within every municipality based on the needs, and that's why you elect people that you think will get those things done. Well, this is where it gets weird. The Flock Safety Incorporated is the one who owns these. This is an exerted effort, right? And so on the memorandum of understanding that I read is that the private hardware is owned by Flock. So if it's hanging illegally, Flock and the department safety should have been sent a notice. Now, I couldn't talk to Ike Skelton. He said he's got legal representation that told him he should not talk on an ongoing investigation.
Right.
So in talking with people through the county and around the area, it sounds like they did send notice long ago, months ago, and didn't hear back. And so on December 31st, based on people close to the situation, said on December 31st, Presiding Commissioner Skelton went and took it down.
Interesting.
And so, and I look at it and I say, okay, you are the highest ranking, the most powerful person in this county, the presiding commissioner. You and your commission adopt a code and then you change it a little bit, revise it. No one has told you that that is not okay. So if you're the presiding commissioner, that is an ordinance that was in direct violation. You're supposed to act. You gave them 30 days and they didn't take it down. So he, instead of, I think the only question is maybe do you have somebody else? Do you have Public Works? Do you put that in front of the sheriff? But if it's December 31st, well, you're right in between Tony Helms and Chris Edgar. Like literally, 31st at midnight going into the 1st is when Chris Edgar would have been officially the sheriff. So you can't really go there. Well, so New Year's Day, from what I understand, a day after this happened, nothing. Well, January 2nd, chatter started to get around the courthouse, right? Mm-hmm. People were talking about it. There were questions being asked. We don't know exactly who was getting questioned, but I was starting to get murmurings that this is going to be much bigger than it looks like. And then so on January 2nd, sounds to me like, I couldn't confirm because I wasn't able to talk, but that highway patrolman showed up to his house while he wasn't there, waited for him, and then wanted to get the camera back. So from my understanding, they did get the camera. They asked for some comments, but there was no comments to be had. And at that point, that's where we're at. So I look at this and I go, I don't think that they have anything on Presiding Commissioner Ike Skelton. And if they did, if they have theft or tampering with equipment, those will be an easy misdemeanor. And I highly doubt that Andrew Hardwick, our new Attorney General, his first act that he wants to do is take on a case against Camden County, the freedom-fighting, back the blue, conservative, patriots of the state of Missouri. That is Camden County. They probably don't want to wage war on that. So our county is saying, listen, the plate readers, we don't want them. Not only are we not taking the state and the federal ones, you bring them in our county, we have ordinances that tell you we'll take them down. I'm all about it. I back our presiding commissioner 100%, and I back the fact that he went and did it himself and said, I'm not going to send somebody else and put them in the line of fire. You want to come after somebody? Come after me. We adopted this code. It's going to stand. I'm like, I love it.
Well, and it sounds like the way all that reads and the revision especially, that he was within his rights to do it, it sounds like. So.
And I got a question about this flock safety system. Why would a highway patrolman be driving by and just stop because there was equipment being worked on by somebody? What would the highway patrolman have to do? Now they're leased, from my understanding, that memorandum of understanding, that's leased equipment, and so people that want that information or want access to those LPRs would then pay a fee to be part of that. Mm-hmm. Still doesn't make the equipment the highway patrols. It still doesn't make that equipment belong to the state of Missouri. If I'm leasing a vehicle from a rental company, I don't own that vehicle, right? And so that is where we're at. There will be more coming, but an ongoing investigation, I think, gets probably pretty heated before it cools down.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
And we will keep you posted. All right, so you may not love former President Jimmy Carter, who just passed at the age of 100, but what I thought was cool is his service was Tuesday, and a Versailles grad, Michael Trotter, 2019 grad, all-state football player, all-state wrestler, now in the U.S. Army, was selected to be one of 8 casket bearers.
How cool is
for
that?
Former President Carter's funeral. I mean, there's only been, I don't know, it's between 30 and 35 presidents that have passed away. In my lifetime, it's probably been like 4 or 5, maybe 6. Those funerals are a huge deal, right? And so to get selected to be part of burying the highest office in the world, really cool stuff for Michael Trotter, Versailles grad, U.S. Army individual. Just love the guy, and what an honor for a Versailles grad. Way to go, Michael Trotter. Pretty cool stuff. All right, so weird story before we go. I saw a suspect was arrested after stabbing a man to death in Versailles.
Yeah, this was weird. Okay, so this was Friday, January 3rd, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, alleyway behind Westview Shopping Center. The victim was 69-year-old Carl Vernon Goodman of Versailles, pronounced deceased, stabbed in the neck, and they arrest 23-year-old Cody Munson, who is under arrest.
That's a sad, awful story. You hate to see that. Not a lot of details as we wrap up this week's Cup of Coffee, my friends. Thank you for watching. You could also catch Happy Hour with DJ Kyle each week at 6, noon, and 6. And this week on the Community Spotlight, Brent Boyle.
That's right, Mr. Michael Steak Chalet.
Don't miss all the great things happening on Lake TV thanks to our buddy Chris with Chris Lightco, illuminating your lakefront paradise in 2025. Until next week, from Slumberland at the Lake,